The next one is from Bob Hudson on YouTube. How susceptible is sailcloth to mildew? I am based in the southwest of the UK, and it tends to be a bit damp. So the thing that stands out to me is the difference between, a laminate sail and a Dacron sail. So a Dacron sail is just a woven material, so it's basically one layer. Let's just talk about actually a head sail that's a furling head sail, because that's fairly common. So in a Dacron furling head sail, it's a little bit excessive, what I always tell clients, but I really just want them to take care of the sails. And so what I usually say is, if you're going to leave a Dacron sail in a very moist environment up on the rig furled for more than a couple months, you might have some mildew starting in the sail, because if it's wrapped really tight, there's no airflow, and if you wrapped it and put it away wet, also with the moisture from the outside, it could bring some issues. So what you want to do is, when you're not on the boat for that amount of time or longer, often it's for the winter, I always suggest, you spend a lot of money on sails and you want to take care of them and have them last as long as you can. And what you do is you just drop the sail nicely down to the deck. Make sure it's dry when you do it. So the sail, if the sail's wet on a sunny day, just sit there at the dock if there's no wind and just let it dry out. Drop it down, throw it in a bag. Only throw it in a bag if it's dry, but throw it in a bag and then store it in the parts of the season that you're not using it. It's only going to help you out. The UV doesn't have the threads exposed to the environments. The UV itself also, so it's just worth that. Now, laminate sails are a bit different. Okay, you have laminate sails that have taffeta on either side, and you have ones that are clear films on either side. There's a bit of a difference. So the clear film ones, sometimes if you're furling it or you're flaking it because maybe you bring it down, you have to watch out that you're not cracking the films. Okay, usually furling it's okay. A lot of guys like furling laminate sails because they're doing club racing and they don't want to have to deal with it. And then the taffeta covered ones, the cruising laminates, I'll say, they basically are the same thing with a woven material on the outside. When you laminate things together, there's always a chance of moisture getting between the layers and then mildewing from the inside. And that's probably where your question is, in the laminates, because they can mildew from the inside if they're not dried and stored properly. So, I would, if it's in those environments, I would probably stick with a Dacron sail. I know a lot of guys will try and say, go with a laminate, go with a laminate, go with a laminate, but the difference is actually somewhat minimal. And if it's a risk, if you spend $5,000 on a sail, why would you risk it in that environment if that's what you're worried about? I think that's a very important thing. So it's either not risking it or risking it, but just taking down the sail every time that you're going to leave the boat for a month or more. Like it's not that hard. It doesn't take that long, but just make sure you're taking care of exactly what you purchased when you get a new sail, or even if you have a used sail. You want it to last as long as you can. So I hope that helps out, Bob Hudson on YouTube. It's maybe a little bit of a vague answer, but I'm just trying to go through, Dacrons don't mildew as much, and laminates can have mildew on the inside, so it just depends on how much work you want to do taking care of your sails. And I hope that helps, Bob Hudson on YouTube. Thanks again. There's another question on the way.